Welcome to Place and Experience. Indulge your senses with immersive game titles. Boost the excitement with our engaging promotional tools and generous network promotions. Be in control with XI Viewport Management Tool and experience seamless gameplay powered by X Platform. Enjoy Place and Experience as our partners do in over 20 regulated markets. And get ready to go big. Big play is on. Placent.
Placent, that's right, Nico. Hello, and we are live, coming at you live and direct like a fountain of knowledge. The one and only Mr. Nico Jansen, live from Salzburg, joins us now for your weekly news by Next.io. Nico, how are you?
I'm pretty perfect, to be honest. Weather is great here in Salzburg. I'm actually in the home country of one of the group leaders, the great and awesome Austria. And it couldn't be more fun, except, doing the weekly news with you and being joined by Big Rog, who will enlighten us just a little bit about what's happening behind the curtains at Euro 2024. So I'm really looking forward to it. But how are you, my dear friend?
I'm doing very well, yes. As you say, we're doing something a little bit different this week. We are going to have a football bonanza extravaganza Euro 2024 special. Nico, I'll be honest with you. So far for me, the tournament has not been very fruitful. It's been a lot better for a certain Stoke-on-Trent-based operator who's won all the bets I've taken out against them. I had a bet on Ukraine yesterday, 0-0. I had a bet on Poland against France the other day, 1-1. I had a bet, what else? Everything's lost. I'm doing terribly. So that's me, £15 down the drain. I'll never see that again because you know me, Nico. I'm a real high roller, so I've been trying my best.
Yeah.
Sadly, no win. I still have I have a bet on Spain at 8-1 from before the tournament started. And if that comes in, I'll win £160. So believe me, Nico, the Milky Bars are on me. If that comes in, I'll buy you a pint next time I see you. Fingers crossed. But today we're going to be learning about what's happening on the other side, as you say. What is the impact of all that extra betting activity on particularly the B2B sector? So we're going to have Roger from IDnow in just a few minutes joining us. Nico, have you had any bets so far?
Yes, of course, I had some of the bets. And once again, shout out to John Gordon from Incentive Games. We will bring him on to the podcast in a couple of weeks for sure. And while he was staying with his funky bunch and the Marky Mark crew in Munich, he came up with an awesome idea to get some money onto some matches. Guess what? Didn't win. So that's why I'm still here doing my part of the show. No, I wouldn't leave you for nothing, for no money in the world. But, that's what actually brings fun and brings the entertainment. So and shout out once again to all the people who might face some addiction things or issues while placing a bet. It's just for entertainment. It's nothing to gain profits. It's just for entertainment. And as long as you have fun, it's all good. If the fun stops, stop. Pretty simple.
That's right, Nico. You are absolutely right. So, without further ado, I think we should think about bringing Roger on. But first, of course, we have to give the people what they want. And what they want, Nico, is the 10 biggest headlines of the week in 5 easy minutes. Do you think you can do it?
Yes, I will. So Leo Vegas buys Typico US to advance MGM's standalone vision. MGM Resort has reached a definite terms to acquire the technology platform of Typico US, a deal managed by Leo Vegas. So Typico US technology platform will be merged with Leo Vegas, advancing MGM's plan to operate a purpose-built proprietary sportsbook across all international markets and brands. And guess what? I'm pretty sure we will see further news coming in, as this might ring a bell with BetMGM and their cooperation with Entain, but this will be coming, I'm pretty sure, in the next couple of months. Google halts their real money gaming expansion on Play Store due to regulatory challenges. Google has paused its experiment to allow new types of real money games, short RMG, on the Play Store, citing challenges due to the absence of a central authority to approve such apps in certain regions. As a Google spokesperson said, expanding our support of real money gaming apps in markets without a central licensing framework has proven more difficult than expected, and we need additional time to get it right for our developer partners and the safety of our users. Simplebet reports 75 growth in NBA micro betting. The provider facilitated nearly 325 million in bets across its operator partner base, witnessing close to 13 million bets placed throughout the NBA season across its suite of in-play markets. This represents a growth of approximately 75% compared to the previous season. Catena Media scraps 2024 earnings forecast amid Google search changes. Catena said the Google update will reduce revenues and direct costs arising from some of the group's media partnerships. Catena said that as a result of Google's changes, it now expects revenue for the second quarter 2024 to be in the range of 12.5 to 13.5 million. Meanwhile, adjusted EBITDA will be in the range of 0.5 to 1.5 million. And if you want to get your hands on why the latest changes of the Google code and how they rank search results, just listen to the episode when we talked about SEO with our two experts. So feel free to listen to the podcast we just recorded 2 or 3 weeks back in time. Sky City sells 55 million GIG stake as it's no longer strategically necessary. Sky City has announced the decision to sell its stake in European-based online gaming platform Gaming Innovation Group to the Eurosec family. As said, this now makes the Eurosec family the biggest single shareholder in Gaming Innovation Group. And as we all know, one of the family members is sitting on the board of Gaming Innovation Group, which implies things are about to change, because they for sure wouldn't invest if they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. So fingers crossed it will all work out. Heading over to LATAM, as Brazilians bet over 3.7 billion in the first 4 months of 2024. Between January and April, Brazilians spent 3.7 billion on offshore online bookmakers. The figure is 32.1% higher than the same period in 2023, which was 2.8 billion. And now the growth comes in the first month after the approval of law 14.790, which regulated online gambling in the country and brought a series of regulations to the industry. So shout out to Brazil. Now, New York casino bidder vows 250 million to community investment. A recent report highlighted that one of the bidders for New York's 3 downstate casinos vote to invest $250 million in different community initiatives. With 3 new downstate casino licenses up for grabs in New York, competition is fierce. So far, several recognizable gambling and entertainment operators have shown interest in developing a casino. And this might bring for one license up to $1 billion in cash for the state as well. So experts say no California sports betting shortcuts after Supreme Court denial in Florida. So as we all know what happens in Florida, some people actually thought that California might be back on the radar. But however, a veteran tribal gaming attorney and industry source with knowledge of the US gaming landscape disputed a theory. He said extremely slim to zero, in brackets, that California will become reality for both legal and political reasons. That is unlikely to be viable option. I think the legal analysis as to why it could be done without a ballot is sketchy, and even if correct, would invite further unnecessary litigation. So for now, no California, but fingers crossed it will happen at some time. Now, just two short headlines as Better Collective launches a 20 million euro share buyback program, and India leaves 28% taxation on online gaming tax in place. If you want to read more, go to Next.io and there you can read the full stories. But now it's time to get on the big man, why you all logged on and why you are so thrilled that whatever Roger will tell us now is the unfaced reality of what's happening behind the curtains at the Euro 2024. So why don't we just bring on the magic of today's show. Roger, how are you, my dear friend?
I must say, I nearly felt like a gladiator being introduced in an amphitheater. I mean, it was very touching tribute there, Nico. Thank you very much. No, I am very good. I am enjoying some time with some customers, also some industry friends in Gibraltar at the moment, and of course, last time when I was on this beautiful podcast, I was in my car at a kid's birthday. This time a little bit less spectacular, just in a hotel room. So we are progressing. Maybe I will be once at my desk, in the near future. But let's see.
How about it, Roger? Neither Nico nor I have won any bets yet on the Euros. Have you managed to pick any winners yet?
I have, because I have been betting against England every game, because they are well and truly the worst team that there is in the Euros. I think so far I have to say Spain, Portugal, and also Germany look like the favorites right now. But we all know that sometimes quick things can happen. Like yesterday, with Portugal losing against Georgia. I mean, for them as a nation must be incredible, right? I mean, it's amazing to win against Portugal anyway in such a big tournament. But I did win a few. I lost a lot as well. But like Nico said before, it's just for entertainment purposes. So no substantial amounts have been lost, which is the good thing.
Good. Yes, I've definitely spent more behind the bar while I've been watching them in my local club than I have.
Well, let's not talk about that one. Let's not talk about that
one. So, Roger, why don't you tell us a little bit about, on the business side of things, how a big tournament like this kind of impacts your day-to-day at IDnow? What's the major changes that you see at a time like this? Obviously, a pretty busy month, I guess.
I mean, you always get those, before I get to it, you always get peaks, right? Whether that's the Grand National, whether that's an example, Cheltenham, whether that's any other, let's say big event, Champions League final, all of those, right? Where, let's say, peaks at a certain time for 3 or 4 hours, and then you're done with it. But what we have seen so far is unprecedented. And after also speaking to our customers, it's the numbers that they see is way over forecast. And no one can explain why. I mean, we can all see the television. We can all see that there is no super duper marketing campaigns ongoing. I think, everything is as is, I feel, I mean, I've been during the Euros in Germany as well to visit my family, and also there on the television. I've also been in Spain, and there's this, just the usual, you get the usual, and it is unprecedented. I mean, the peak that we saw on the opening game, which was of course Germany against Scotland, was nearly 4 times higher than the first game of the World Cup 2 years ago. It is also, pretty much the same at the last Euros, even though the last Euros everyone was at home and we've all been locked down, etc. So we have never seen levels, or I also personally, I mean, I used to work, at a different supplier as well in the past, GB Group, and I have never seen those kind of levels of spikes before. And what's even more interesting is, and we didn't say that in the press release that we did, but I can again, I kept some nice exclusive nuggets for this show. So the second group game of Germany, which of course was against Hungary, saw an even higher spike on that day. I mean, I'm not just talking about Germany, but on that day, the spikes were consistently from 10 a.m. until basically 10 p.m. the highest we've ever seen. And then go back to your question, how do we deal with it? It's I would say a mixture of experience, but also having the right people there, and then I think I said it in a LinkedIn post. I think the people that we have in our team are incredible. We have people working let's say double shifts at certain point, because of course our product can either be automated or hybrids, and then most of the times people choose hybrid because they don't want their agents to be overloaded of obviously during the time. So we have to provide that manpower. So I think like by now I think we've got 12 locations where we have those agents. Most of them are in Germany, but we also have some in Croatia as well. And the way that's been turned around, of the teamwork that I've seen on display is always something that I enjoy more than having my own success, because people come together, you can really see a togetherness, and we find solutions. So actually, during that time, we've had our highest SLAs we've ever had. We never had a like downtime during that time, which is super important. So touch wood, so far so good. I'm not gonna speak for the rest of the because we all don't know what's gonna happen in an hour, but it's been unprecedented, but at the same time it's been a lot of fun, because it's more challenges, more data, and well, I'm gonna keep 2 or 3 things before I start talking on, but I'm gonna keep 2 or 3 things in the course of this conversation.
Nice.
So just let me jump into this quickly, because you already highlighted some of the things, but I'm pretty sure not all of our viewers and listeners are so familiar on why your service is so important, and actually license operators need to verify and identify their customers. So can you just quickly walk us a little bit through just the regulatory requirements in the UK and in Germany, as we have two of the biggest markets, and why it is so important within the value chain if a customer actually wants to sign up with any of the license operators, and why they actually need your service. If you just can walk us quickly through this, because then people will understand why a demand on signups actually leads to a more demand in your services as well.
I mean, first of all, to say, compliance is like Marmite. Some people absolutely hate it. Some people love it, like I do. But it's it's a topic that's ever so changing. I think when I started in the gambling industry back in 2016, it seemed more like the wild west. Whoever had the biggest revolver had the best business, and I mean, sorry to say, but obviously, people didn't care that much about compliance back in the day, But we've seen, I think, in the last 8 years, again, such a huge shift, right? I mean, we are now, we've always talked about compliance as a burden back in the day, but now companies actually see compliance as an enabler for more stable, loyal business, because players nowadays are very picky, because there is, I mean, sometimes if you look and if you type in online casino or sportsbook or whatever, you probably see 60 websites that you could go on and register. Obviously, none of them are all licensed, so just be careful of that. So it's extremely important that when you verify players, that it happens very quickly, but at the same time in a secure way. So it's a big balance. Of course, if we look at the UK and Germany, it's a great example, because UK, the way the regulation is set up, you of course use more so-called database checks. So that's an example, credit reference agency data, electoral roll, mortality data, etc., that you check against, where you do a 2+2 check. So 2+2 means I am checking two values against two different sources. So I have so I can confirm that. Whilst in Germany, you have to verify players using document and selfie. So it's a completely two separate things, of course, here. So whilst, of course, the data queries, they're pretty easy to handle, because the data that you check against servers is kind of predictable, and you can scale it. However, with documents, of course, the way you have to scale your servers is totally different, because we're talking about file sizes here between 2 to 15 megabytes at times, and to handle, let's say, an example, 20,000 within 1 hour, of course, is a big challenge. I mean, again, totally boring stuff. So sorry if anyone's fallen asleep already. But I think why it's important is, of course, because if you don't verify your players by the book, you're going to get fined. And we have seen, specifically in the UK, a lot of fines for AML failures, RG failures, verification failures, etc., etc. I mean, most of those obviously date back to 2019 and before that, but operators have gotten very, very good at it by now, but it's super crucial, because it starts and ends there pretty much, and if you don't satisfy the customer with that process, and you have to wait and wait and wait and wait. I mean, I just remember the crypto boom, and when you try to sign up to obviously whatever that was, I'm not going to name any, but you wanted to sign up to trade some crypto, you had to wait nearly a week to get verified. And imagine in today's time, if there is a euro, what is the player going to do? He's just going to type in another website and off he goes. So first of all, you've already spent money, because you are doing checks in the background already on that player, and then you're trying to verify him, so you're spending on him, so your customer acquisition cost is going through the roof. And people talk, I mean, there's nowadays so many forums on Facebook or Twitter or X, or wherever wherever you want to go, and they just talk, and they just say, oh yeah, this is not good, that's blah blah blah, and whatever. And why it's so important, and again, this is something I kept at the which we are very proud of, because it sounds good and it's very, very important. On the opening day of the Euros, we have prevented over 1,200 minors from setting up a gambling account. So that is, of course, a big achievement, because we prevented kids from signing up illegally to websites. So not only obviously preventing harm to our customers and operators, which they will have to deal with obviously afterwards, but also to keep those people off the platforms. We all know it's 18 or 21 plus in most of the countries, so we are very proud of that. And I think this is exactly what RegTech products are there for. It's preventing and also at the same time enabling, right? So we are, and again, it's a big balance, but again, something that we are very, very happy about, that we prevented those minors, from setting up, gambling accounts.
Very good. And I wonder if, as you said before, there's been an unprecedented demand. Has there been, I suppose that means that your numbers of the people that you have to reject are also going up. Are you finding increasing demand from people who shouldn't be opening gambling accounts, and that you're turning more and more customers away?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's actually, I would say, with some of the customers that we have, we actually detected targeted fraud rings that try to sign up multiple accounts with, let's say, with a document where they just try to change the name, etc. So it's something we pick up, and for two of our customers, there's been targeted attacks that we detected, and also at the same time, obviously, then put on. So yeah, I mean, we've seen huge influx. I mean, like I said, with especially with under 18s, we've actually seen a huge rise. But I mean, again, it always happens at those big events because that's what everyone talks about. But like I said, because the numbers are so much higher this time, obviously, also at the same time, the rejections are also around about 3 or well, in some cases, 10 times higher than what they usually are.
Yeah. Are you able to share with us what the nature of those fraud attempts were? I wonder if that's something that's kind of changing and developing as the
it's bonus abuse. It's bonus abuse. So they want to set up an account. They want to get the the free bets, and then they turn it around. I mean, again, it could be you could go down further because we don't have the capacity to do that. That's obviously again on the operator and also on the authorities. But of course, there could be an example. Let's say social engineering going on, which we can also detect with a product that we have. Also, of course, money mules, money laundering, etc. So, but that is something that we cannot say right now. But what we can now say for sure, I mean, some of the operators had a nice, sign up bonus in Germany, an example, or in the UK. Same in France as well. I mean, like France has also been like crazy when France plays. We've seen, like, let's say compared to normal months, they're like 20 times higher than what they usually are. I mean, it's just to think about it, it's crazy, right? I mean, it means obviously great business for the operators, so that's obviously good. It means more business for us, which is even better, my CFO would say probably at this time. But at the same time, again, you obviously had more risk on something bad happening. So it's a ongoing fight, and in the times of AI, ChatGPT. I mean, it's super easy nowadays to have a fake document. I mean, you go and again, for the listeners here, something that's quite funny. If you go on a website called replaceyourdoc.com, you can actually order for £20 a fully functioning Barclays bank statement, or you can also order a utility bill that is like BT, like Vodafone, whatever it is, perfect templated, by the way. I mean, there is like no system in the world will detect that it's a fake, because it's perfect. It costs you £20 nowadays to have fake documents that are actually real.
Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. So that's a tough job for you guys to be the firewall against people who are using things that are not official and not legitimate. But I wonder how, I mean, you've already kind of touched on how this experience of the Euros compares to previous, comparable tournaments like the World Cup. So what, can you give us a bit more color on what's different this time, and maybe how some of those previous experiences have prepared you for kind of dealing with the surge that you're having right now?
I think, probably what's different is I would say the first tournament that is kind of in the middle of Europe, because obviously Germany is kind of like the connecting point of let's say Western Europe, of course, and this is where the biggest football nations are. And if you look at where the last, let's say, tournaments have been, so you obviously had Qatar last, you had before that the COVID Euros that were all over the shop. Mm-hmm. You had Russia, and then it was Brazil. So we've been away for a long time out of Western Europe. And I also think, for especially when there's nations like Germany that all of a sudden have like this kind of home advantage, and where people can travel again and be together. I mean, if you look at some of the videos of the Dutch fans, I mean, that just looks so cool, man. Like, I just sometimes even though I'm not the biggest fan of the Dutch team, but you just put on a shirt and you want to go out, and you see in Germany, I mean, the streets are filled with people just having a good time, being together. And again, because I think it's also a way of how gambling in itself has been positioned in the last 2 years. I mean, if you look at an example, William Hill adverts, it's all about social entertainment, right? It's everyone nowadays talks about gambling as what it should be, entertainment. You use it in a social circle, so you can check on each other. and use it for fun. And some people use it to be more invested in the games that they watch, right? Like an example, me. So if I see there might be a little boring game, I might put a bet on this team, and then I watch it with purpose. But I think it's the way that the gambling industry has changed, I think that has massively helped. I think that the tournament is in Germany is also a massive factor, because of course in Germany, whenever you are, and Nico will know this because he lives in Munich, on every corner nowadays there is a betting shop, so obviously the brands are very visible, and it's a lot easier nowadays as well, because you can just literally go online and you sign up in 5 minutes, and here you go, you place a 5 or 10 euro bet, and that's the increase that we see. It's those people that place like 5 or 10 or 15 euros and whatever per game. That was the biggest increase. So yeah, I think because it's so easy, it's more accessible. The way gambling is seen nowadays, I think we went away from those times where gambling was the worst thing on earth in every newspaper for numerous of years, to something I can actually provide some solid funding to some good projects, but then also at the same time to provide entertainment, which we all well, I mean, I'm just saying, we all sometimes need a little bit of something, whether that's gambling or whether that's going to a sports event or whatever it is. But yeah, I think those things really feed into that, the change of culture and where the tournament is. I think that's how I would explain it, right? I mean, again, there is no right or wrong, I guess, on this one here, but I think we all can agree that gambling is, or let's say operators have done a huge campaigns to show gambling as it really is, which is, like I just said, entertainment and for social purposes.
Yeah, I was surprised. Well, not surprised, but quite kind of impressed at how much you said the traffic spikes, particularly in France when their national team plays. I wonder if there's any other particular geographies or areas where you've noticed especially high growth compared to previous tournaments.
Yeah, so France, Romania, and Germany are very, very high. I think England has spikes, but because, as I said, because it's managed in a different way, we can still see the spikes, but it's nothing, let's say, unprecedented. But it also could be with the fact that England is very, very bad right now in playing football. On the men's side, sorry, because I don't want to take anything from the women away. But I think those three countries, and then very, very surprisingly, I would also say it's actually Italy has also seen a huge spikes.
Nice. Now, Nico, of course, you are German-based most of the time. You're in beautiful Austria today, but will you be going to any matches while the tournament's in your back garden?
We will just see. So as of now, it's quite expensive to actually, attend the match. And if you're not one of the lucky winners to actually, being able to buy a ticket at the official price, because you can always buy tickets. It just depends on your budget. And as of now, I just rather spend money on my beautiful hair than just, attending a match. But there was one very, very interesting statement which Roger just made based on one thing. So first of all, to wrap things just a little bit up, as of now, whenever you just sign up as a customer at a Germany licensed operator, the operators must identify you as a customer. So there's no way around. So whenever the big brands like the Typicals, the Bet365, you name them, sign up a new customer, this customer will demand the services of someone identifying them. So that's pretty simple. So that's why the more these big brands actually spend on advertisement, the more customers they want to sign up, they can just fulfill their sign-up process whenever or as soon as they finish the verification process, which puts also a lot of pressure on the KYC companies like the IDnows, because if you have a high demand on, and this is what Roger pointed out, like, okay, signing up, setting up your account happens within a time span of 3 to 5 minutes. This can just happen in 3 to 5 minutes if all the little bits and pieces actually communicate and work with each other. Because whenever a customer can proceed with his signing up and gaining the bonus, which you already pointed out, Roger, that they are putting out money there to actually for new customers, there will be a significant amount of drop off. So people actually stopping at one point and not finishing their registration. And as said, this just works if the overall value chain of advertisement, customer sees the advertisement, downloads the app, sets up his account, verifies his account, so identification is done, and then depositing money. So you can just deposit money as soon as verification has been done. And as said, this puts a lot of pressure on you and your services, Roger. And just based on this question, do you feel a little bit of tension from the operators where it actually comes down to, okay, we are expecting like sign-ups of 5,000 people within a certain time span. So do you actually have the so-called red phone where people can ring you up like, okay, this is Denise Coates. I just won the bet of Conor Mulheir, so I can spend big time on further advertisements. Be aware that traffic will come in. So how can you actually adjust the demand of your servers and your capabilities and capacities? If you could walk us there just a little bit.
By the way, for everyone, that was a very subtle tell before, from Nico that you should invite him to a game because he would really like to go to a game. So if any operators are here and you are sponsors of the Euros, please feel free to extend the invite to Nico because, Nico is a great friend of mine and I want to see him happy, So just before I answer your question. But, essentially, I think, no, look, it all comes down to the organization that we have, right? I think, we have account managers that work with the operators day in, day out. So they will ask them, hey, do you plan anything around this time? Do you plan anything here? Do you plan anything there? So we actually tell of our customers to say, hey, hey, Mr. Customer, have you got anything planned this year? Do you know already something, right? And it might be like for them, it might be, we're just going to do this or whatever, but it actually might mean on the business side that it will impact it greatly. And this is what you just said, Nico, that if that value chain breaks, you have an unsatisfied player. And in this competitive, day and age, it's not going to work. So I think, first of all, generally speaking, not just, trying to, advertise my company or whatever, but, just me speaking as a consultant, what you definitely should do as a company is have a clear vision and a plan on where you might do a marketing, let's say, activity, where you see big sporting events, and make sure that your provider, whatever it is, right? It's not just KYC. We're talking here about also data vaults, about server storage, etc. Make sure that you have a plan available and communicate with your suppliers in order to meet those demands. Sometimes we all know, not all of us are perfect, and certainly also at IDnow we've made a lot of mistakes, and sorry to say, but shit happens. And then but what counts is how you get up from it. Again, feel like a motivational speaker right now, but what really counts is like how you can twist that situation for the better in the future. So that's the most important thing. And again, what I can always say: have a close relationship with your suppliers, because it's only going to result in better business for you.
There you go. Solid advice. And let me shout out Jake Evans in the comments, our former co-host here on Weekly News, now, of course, PR manager to the Stars. He says, you are providing my entertainment today with no football on. That's right, Roger. Maybe you get a bit of respite over these next couple of days, because we've got no matches till Saturday afternoon. So
listen, my wife and kids are very happy. So at least they don't have to watch some football games. So they get a break for a couple of days.
Yeah, shame. It's like they're breaking the darts for Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Right, let's just get that over with. We'll get back to the darts now. So there you go. Saturday, we'll be back to it. Well, Nico, we're learning a lot here with Roger. Have you got anything else that we should ask? Anything we've forgotten before we wrap up?
So Roger already touched down on this one, with artificial intelligence taking over. So, getting or bringing value to, first of all, the service providers, but on the other hand, also, leveling up also the fraudsters out there. And you just touched down just a little bit on this one, like, okay, social engineering, AI, you can just, hand in fake documents which look real, but for sure there's something which still identify these documents from being handed in from a fraudster. So are there some challenges which you already see on the horizon, which operators should prepare for, or anything just besides the Olympics, which will be the next big thing in a couple of weeks, happening as well? So is there something which you could already highlight?
I think what's the really big threat is synthetic templates of documents, because through, of course, AI, again, you can make that document look real. We live in a world of 3D printers. We live in a world where you can get a perfect passport with an with a fraudulent with a NSC chip that you can buy for nowadays for, I believe it was 2,000 euros from China. So if you are really serious about doing fraud, you are very much so enabled nowadays, to do so. So, I mean, to be honest, it's like chicken and egg, So like, they do something, we know something they might do, and you always go, back and forth. So, I think it's again all about staying top of it. But like I said, the synthetic templates, that's a big issue at the moment. So you gotta watch out for that. And there is technology available. You can get synthetic template detection, an example, but which works most of the times, but still sometimes you're gonna pass them. I mean, again, any KYC company telling you, oh yeah, we're like 90% this, 99% that, I can tell you right now is BS, because in the end of the day, the market is fluid. The countries are also totally different, right? I mean, the landscape of, let's say, Italy, where driver's license fraud is like at an all-time high at the moment, than to let's say in Germany, where you have a lot of people that try to do it with the residence permit. So the situation is fluid. You just have to keep on top of that. I mean, it's pretty much impossible to keep on top of everything, but I think, again, if you have that close relationship with the operators and the suppliers, it can really work. And I really hope, and I keep saying this for over 5 years now, but I really, really hope that one day regulators will actually start talking to suppliers more, because sometimes when I see the regulation and see the requirements, you just kind of have to laugh in your cynical self. But yeah, it's something that, again, can only be managed together. So yeah, to get back to your question, synthetic templates are really, really prevalent, and also, of course, AI generated identities, where they essentially do attacks where you have 10,000s of, let's say, people that do it. So in a concentrated attack, because out of the 10,000, the probability is that still 5% will still get past it, so they usually do it, obviously, as a you see those let's say fake YouTube or fake Spotify click farms, where they have all the phones doing it, and that's literally what they do. They do the farms, and then they do concentrated attacks and get past it from time to time. It is what it is, but it's something that that will evolve for sure. I mean, probably if we talk in 12 months' time, I'm probably going to tell you something completely different than than I'm right now, just because of how it is. But that's the fun, People think compliance is boring, but it kicks ass. It's a cool industry.
Yeah, there's always a new challenge to confront. So yes, I'm sure never a dull moment, Roger, and certainly not a dull moment in today's conversation. So thank you for joining us. Before we let you go, if we all had to pick one winner for the tournament, my money's on Spain, quite literally. Fellas, what do you think?
Roger, go ahead.
Deutschland.
Deutschland.
So,
What do you think, Nico? Do you agree?
as it would be quite boring having or joining Roger in the quite obvious Euros winner, I'm going for Austria.
Okay. Well, seeing as you're in Salzburg, I guess that makes sense today. But yes, may the best team win. Let's say that.
And may we all have a lot of fun, like Roger already pointed out. It's just about having a decent fun and, enjoying yourself, having a great time at the stadium and just, cheering for your team. And these are all the footages we actually see. There are a lot of people actually enjoying themselves. Weather is quite good, or used to be quite good. Fingers crossed it will stay this. And just enjoy yourself. Make memories. Memories last forever.
That's right. Certainly a memorable conversation we've had today. Roger, thank you once again for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I'm sure we'll have you back on here very soon again. But I hope you enjoy the rest of the tournament, and I hope you, continue to enjoy your journey through the ever-changing world of compliance.
No. I mean, thank you so much, for having me on. Really enjoyed it today, yeah, thanks so much. And whenever Nico calls and says, hey, might be something interesting, I stand there, whether my car on the road or somewhere in a hotel room. So yeah, I'll be there. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Roger. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Nico, I'm going to get your response to all of that in just a moment. But first, we have a very important message to play for our viewers. So please take it away.
Hundreds of studios, dozens of Hub Market partners, an industry-leading Hub wallet, and just one API. Hub 88 is connecting businesses to a world of limitless content where the possibilities are endless. Hub 88.
Well, there you have it. And I should say, of course, thank you to Hub 88 and to Playson for sponsoring this episode. Nico, nice to have a bit of a change. Nice special guest. Roger certainly knows what he's talking about. And nice to change things up and have a bit of a chat about the football every now and again, isn't it?
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Because there you actually can have a peek just behind the curtain and actually see what's happening to just actually provide frictionless entertainment, and it all starts with signing up and setting up the account. This is the break it and make it factor, and as you already pointed out, it will never be boring.
No, absolutely, and I also think somebody posted on Twitter earlier about the fact that a lot of these results have probably looked quite operator friendly. Certainly the results of my bets have been very operator friendly. So I think when we start to see Q2 results in the next few weeks and then Q3 results, obviously we're straddling both quarters here with the tournament. So I think it'll be a pretty positive tournament for a lot of operators. A lot of underdogs winning, a lot of draws, a lot of 0-0, a lot of low-scoring games. All these factors contribute to, I think, a pretty good result for the operators. So probably going to have a pretty good quarter. What do you think?
Yeah, that's so true, especially if you just think about the Q1 results, if I'm not mistaken, Q1 or Q2, which have not been very...
Q4 last year was really bad.
Q4 last year was kind of non-operator friendly. Yeah. So in the end, it all levels each other, or it just levels on a yearly basis. Sometimes you just win, and sometimes you actually lose. But as said so often, and especially when we just talked about the Q4 results of all the operators. It's just entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. And if you feel entertained putting a wager on a game, just do yourself a favor. And if you enjoy it, do it. Just enjoy yourself. And as said, if the fun stops, stop. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I was encouraged by what Roger said that as we work towards a less stigmatized industry, a more entertainment focused industry, I think that's where the real sustainable growth is going to come from. It's not about VIPs and whales anymore. It's about lots of people placing a small bet, having some fun, and for me, Nico, that's what it's all about. Can't say it any better than that.
Exactly. Now the both of us are enjoying ourselves. I'm enjoying the view on the Alps just here in Salzburg. I'm pretty sure you will just enjoy yourself at least as much as I do. And see you here next week, same time. Probably the same dynamic duo as well.
Probably. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll have another special guest for you next week. But Nico, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you to Place, and thank you to Hub 88. Thank you to Roger. Thank you to everybody for listening. And we'll see you here, same time, same place next week.
Bye.